On the night of November 13th, 1974, a chilling cry for help echoed from a local bar in the quiet town of Amityville, Long Island. Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr., a 23-year-old man, stumbled into the bar and announced in a voice laden with panic that his entire family had been murdered. But the patrons of the bar, struck by the urgency in his voice, followed him back to his home at 112 Ocean Avenue. Once inside the unassuming suburban house, the horror unfolded in front of their eyes. DeFeo's parents, Ronald DeFeo Sr. and Louise DeFeo, lay dead from gunshot wounds, their blood seeping into the fabric of the home. The nightmare continued as one by one the bodies of the DeFeo siblings were discovered. Dawn, age 18, Allison, age 13, Mark, age 12, and John Matthew, age 9. All 6 victims had been shot and were laying face down in their beds. When the police arrived, DeFeo initially claimed that his family had been murdered by a mob hitman. The excuse was thin, and under questioning, DeFeo's story began to unravel. His inconsistencies, combined with the implausibility of his claims, made him the prime suspect within hours. By the next day, DeFeo had confessed to the killings. In a cold and detached tone, he explained, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. But this confession was just the beginning of a mystery that would haunt the town of Amityville, and later, the world." During his trial, DeFeo's defense attorneys claimed that their client was insane, saying that DeFeo had been hearing demonic voices urging him to commit the murders. It was a dark and bizarre twist, yet the jury didn't believe the claim. DeFeo was found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life. However, the questions surrounding the murders lingered. All 6 victims had been shot with a loud rifle, yet none of them appeared to have woken up, resisted, or fled. How could DeFeo have murdered them all without raising an alarm, with each body lying undisturbed in their beds? Some theorized that DeFeo had drugged his family, or perhaps shot them elsewhere before staging the bodies to make it seem as if they had died in their sleep. Over the years, DeFeo himself changed his story numerous times, leaving the full truth buried with him when he died in prison on March 12, 2021. But the house at 112 Ocean Avenue wasn't done with its sinister legacy. Just over a year after the DeFeo murders, on December 18th, 1975, George and Kathleen Lutz, along with their 3 children and family dog, moved into the home fully aware of the house's gruesome past. They would not stay long. Almost immediately after moving in, strange occurrences began to plague the Lutz family. The first incident involved their dog Harry, who nearly strangled himself trying to jump over a fence, as if something unseen was driving him into a panic. Still, the Lutz family was unfazed. Things escalated quickly when a priest, Father Ralph McCorb, came to bless the home. As he sprayed holy water in one of the rooms, he reportedly heard a disembodied voice command him to get light. The priest left in a hurry, later warning the Lutzes not to ever sleep in that room. The house, it seemed, was rejecting them. Odd smells began to permeate the home, sometimes pleasant like perfume, and at other times foul and putrid. Kathy Lutz reported the feeling of invisible hands grabbing her. Their children were also affected. Daniel's hand was crushed in a window, yet strangely it healed almost immediately. Flies gathered in swarms, despite it being the dead of the winter, and most disturbingly, their daughter Missy claimed to have befriended a talking pig-like creature named Judy, whose size could change from that of a teddy bear to something enormous, as if the house itself were alive. It seemed to play tricks on George Lutz's mind. Every night he would wake up at exactly 3:15 a.m, the same time Ronald DeFeo Jr. had murdered his family. Green slime oozed from the walls, cold spots would appear in certain areas, and doors would slam shut without explanation. George even claimed to witness his wife Kathy transform into an old woman right before his eyes, as she lay in bed, her face withering into that of a crone. But the most terrifying night came just before the family fled. On the final evening, their beds began to levitate, as if being lifted by something unseen. When George and Kathy opened their eyes, they saw a demonic figure, hooded and menacing, pointing at them from the top of the stairs. They recognized its face, etched in the black of the fireplace from the earlier sightings. In that moment, the Lutz family knew they could not stay another night. They packed up and fled to Kathy's mother's home and never returned. In the aftermath of the Lutz's family's terrifying experiences, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue drew the attention of famed paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. In 1976, the Warrens conducted a thorough investigation hoping to uncover the truth behind the haunting. Armed with cameras, recording devices, and a team of investigators, they explored the house's every corner. During one of these investigations, a camera set up to capture any paranormal activity snapped a chilling image. A ghostly figure of a young boy peering from behind the doorway. The image sent shivers down the spines of everyone who saw it. Many believe it was the spirit of John Matthew DeFeo, the youngest of the children, whose life had been cut tragically short in that very house. The boy's glowing eyes and haunting presence seemed to confirm that something dark still lingered within the walls of 112 Ocean Avenue. The Warrens believed this was just one of the many spirits trapped in the home, forced to replay the horrors of their death over and over again. Despite the chilling evidence, skeptics dismissed the photo as either a hoax or an optical illusion, even saying it was the producer, Paul Birch. But for those who had loved through the Amityville Horror, including the Lutzes, the image was yet another reminder that some things defy explanation. Nevertheless, the legacy of the Amityville Horror persisted. Daniel Lutz, now an adult living a quiet life as a stonemason, has said the house ruined his life and that he still suffers from nightmares. And while Ronald DeFeo Jr. continually shifted his story about what happened that night, in 1974 one thing remains clear. The house at 112 Ocean Avenue was a place of unspeakable horror, whether it was the result of human madness or something far more sinister. The events that transpired there continue to haunt the imaginations of those who dare to look into the darkness of that fateful house in Amityville. So, was the Amityville haunting real? Well, probably not. Over the years, a mountain of evidence has come out suggesting that the whole thing was a hoax. The Lutz family, the ones who claimed the house was haunted, only lived there for 28 days. That's all. And later it was revealed that they met with a lawyer before ever moving into the actual home, reportedly to cook up a story that could turn into a book or a movie deal. That book did happen, and it made a lot of money. Even George Lutz's stepson Daniel admitted that the haunting was exaggerated. That Daniel would say that George was obsessed with the occult. This may have influenced the whole thing. The priest who supposedly experienced supernatural activity, he later denied that a lot of it ever happened, and he said he never heard a voice in that room and that it was a lovely feeling in that home. And perhaps the most telling part of all of this, no family who's ever lived in the house since has reported anything strange, ever. No blood dripping from the walls, no demonic pigs, nothing. In the end, the Amityville haunting might not be a true ghost story, but it's definitely a terrifying look at how fear, trauma and media hype can twist the truth into something that feels real, even if it isn't. Thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate you staying this long, and if you are still here, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel, and comment below your thoughts on this case. Without further ado, you're appreciated.